What is going on, guys? It's Garrett Henderson, your friend, possibly mentor. Now, I'm going to go off a little bit of a topic today, and we're going to talk about specifically Norwegian Cruise Lines and the cruise industry. So, I'm going to do this video in the most gentleman way I can. Now, I'm really not known for politics, being politically correct, or even caring what anybody thinks. I'm from New Jersey. I don't have much of a filter. When you deal with people like myself, we kind of just tell you like it is, and that's it. However, on this video, I'm going to try and be as politically correct as I can. It is. So, fair warning, if you're looking for these other cruise line videos that just kiss everybody's ass and say how wonderful everything is so that they can be rewarded and backlinked by other cruise lines, I'm not looking for that. I'm not interested in making cruise videos. I just want to give firsthand experience from a very experienced cruiser, and I want to tell you about our recent cruise. So, enough of that. Let's get to it. So, I'm a long-time cruiser. I've been cruising for over 15 years regularly until the pandemic, like most of you. Well, I recently went on the Norwegian BLISS, and I wanted to kind of go over my experiences, warnings, changes, complaints, and compliments on cruising. So if you're going to be cruising, you want to watch this video because I'm not being sponsored by anybody, I am not affiliated with anybody, and I really don't care what anybody thinks. So let me start by saying that I'm an experienced cruiser. I've been on every major cruise line. I have reward points or whatever, Latitude members, Royal Crown and Anchor member. I am a member. Now, I'm not the top member, but I'm not the bottom member. So I've got many cruises under all the major 3 cruise lines. Cruising has changed. So it's now 2025. Wow, it's 2025. So this video is probably going to be the most important video you could watch if you're considering or you have already booked your upcoming cruise. What's going on, guys? It's Garrett Henderson. How are you? I'm not a cruise vlogger, and I don't intend to be. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I will tell you this. A video like mine from just a standard cruiser is more important than these guys that get sponsored, paid, and given free cruises and benefits to help promote a brand. But you can see by my title, I don't need anybody to help support me. I'm a self-made person in Miami. I'm back home in my winter home in Miami. If you hear noise behind me, it's because there's a lot of construction. It's wonderful here in Miami, and I want to talk to you about the recent cruise I took with my family on the Norwegian BLISS out of Miami to the Western Caribbean. Western Caribbean was a 7-day cruise. We stopped at 4 ports of call, thank goodness. And I want to just go over some tips and tricks with you guys. So first off, I'm going to go into the positive. Let's not start off negative. I'm going to go into the positive. And we're going to be talking exclusively about the exploitation of the seas by Norwegian Cruise Lines. Oh, I'm sorry. The BLISS. It wasn't, that was the thinking I should call the name of the ship, the Exploitation of the Seas. I'm so sorry. It is the Norwegian BLISS. Apologize for that. Okay, back to the positives. Number 1, the ship was extremely clean. Cleanliness. It was extremely clean. There was no fingerprints anywhere up high in these hard to reach areas. It was spotless. The guests were friendly. People were friendly on the cruise ship. It was easy to engage people. No tenders. Everywhere we went had a port to walk off on. It had walkways at each port, I should say, which was incredible. And if you guys have ever tendered before, you realize what a pain in the ass that is. Other vessels were looking rather rusty, especially Carnival. We could see from a distance the other vessels were not nearly as clean and painted and at quality. So be careful on what ship you're picking. Efficient egress. What is efficient egress? Norwegian did a fantastic job getting us on and off the ship. They really controlled the elevator. The mass of people now that are put on these ships, they need to all go to a series of 8 elevators, port and aft elevators. There's 8 in each section, so there's a total of 16 elevators the public uses. And I have to say that, especially returning from a port day, that they really well managed it. They had staff there with ropes that put you in line so that people couldn't jump ahead of you. Because if you guys know in the past, when you're trying to get back on the ship, you hit the up button and this one over here goes, and the people that were behind you jump in and you're front in line. Norwegian solved that, and that was fantastic. A gracious drink package operations. I will say that most people had a drink package, and it was very easy to use. There really was no attitude. There was some discrepancies on bartenders, what they would give you, what they wouldn't give you, especially if you're a soda drinker like I am. Unfortunately, I'm addicted to Diet Coke. I'm a Diet Coke guy, and if you Diet Coke guys know, there's nothing better than it being packaged in a can or in a bottle, and it's certainly different on a soda gun. But it was a great experience with the drink package. The bathrooms in our stateroom was nice size. The shower water captain, because I never heard any captain announcements. There were no annoying daily announcements. Hello, this is the captain speaking, and welcome to, and we're sailing at, and the wind speeds are at, and you know, that monotone, you know, that would wake you up, that constant barrage of announcements from the captain was a pleasure. But, so I'm sure we had a captain, but, and also the cruise director very rarely made announcements. So that was actually kind of cool. I like that. Now, recently there's been, I'm running out of positives. Goldman Sachs upgraded Norwegian Cruise to a buy. And they raised their target price, I believe, from $20 to $25. They bumped it up around $5. And we'll get into the negatives on why they did that. So congratulations, cruise line industry. Exploitation of the seas. Norwegian Bliss, congratulations on the upgrade and your bottom line increasing. I also like the movies in the room. There were free movies in the room. Now, we're not often in the room watching TV. However, you know, when you're constantly at port and you're doing things, and some of the lack of things to do on the ship, you do find yourself in your stateroom watching some TV. They had BBC News, they had CNBC on 24/7. And I believe that's all I have for positives, guys. I'm very sorry. And now is the reason why you're watching the video. And I'm going to get into the negatives. Now, I'm going to do it in a positive way. I'm not going to put anybody down, but I'm going to have to say it. First one is staff. Staff will backtalk you. Staff will sass you back now. Now, I've been cruising since 2019. When, if you ever talk to a staff member, a crew member, a stateroom attendant, a waiter, a waitress, the front desk, anybody that would look you in the eye and sincerely try to help you. That day has passed. Now, expect a defensive excuse on any issue you're having. No diversity. There seems like the ship has totally exploited the Filipino and Indonesia community. Now, again, I don't want to offend Filipinos and Indonesians. However, I don't appreciate a company that is been upgraded and is using the cheapest, desperate labor on our planet. To me, it seems exploitation, exploiting a population that is in desperate need of jobs and money. Now, I get it that, say, $500 a month is an exceptional salary in the Philippines, considering the conversion. I get that, and I understand the need to work and feed your family. but I noticed that there are no other countries involved in staffing. We used to cruise and there would be people from Peru, staff members from Brazil, Chile, Argentina, England, you know, obviously Russia, Ukraine, you know, India, Turkey. There was all different diversities of people that would work there that you could learn their name, hi, etc. Just a wonderful experience. No longer. The cruise ships have pretty much opened up dedicated training facilities in Manila, and they're just desperately going after the Manila worker. Now apparently they enjoy the work, they're very happy for the work, and they tell their friends and family. So the workforce that's coming from the Philippines is extreme. And not just Norwegian, but Royal Caribbean, they're all 100% Filipino with a fraction of Indonesian servers. Now, I didn't appreciate folding chairs in the atrium. They actually had Costco cheap white folding chairs, hundreds of them, in their small atrium for their small games and their small, like the Newlywed Game wasn't held in the theater, it was held in a tiny atrium, and they had to use folding chairs to accompany the growing mass. They're just bringing in more and more people. I didn't like that. Lack of activities. There wasn't many things to do on the ship. Now, I know there's a lot of slides and water park, and there's the racetrack they have, and the hours of operations of that were severely limited. So there wasn't a lot to do, like i.e. bingo, trivia, piano bar. None of that existed. Now, they say it did exist, and now either it was just done in such a small forum, in a small room, or at an odd hour, but I'm finding that cruise ships now are really taming down and pretty much being more militant. I mean, now they're taking on 5,000 cruise passengers to 8,000 cruise passengers. Their job is to keep us safe and keep us fed. Okay, which they do okay. I'll get into that also. But there's not a lot of things to do on the ship anymore. Entertainment. Entertainment was a failing grade. There were no piano bar, there was no guitar playing, there was no pianist or violinist in the upscale dining rooms. They used to have piano playing and a violinist and just beautiful, serene music. That's all gone. The entertainment budget is pretty much at the very bottom, hence the upgrade from Goldman Sachs. Now, we did see 2 shows. One was called Icons, which was okay. It was kind of cool. It was about like, it had like Whitney Houston and Elton John, Billy Joel, like hits from the past. And that was kind of cool. But the problem is they played the same show 2 days in a row with nothing else, okay? Now they did have a comedy show called Levity Comedy, and we couldn't get into that. It was in a very tiny cavern, like there was no robotic bartenders, there was no more robotic moving. Like years ago we went on a Royal Caribbean, they had these wonderful screens on robotic arms that would dance and perform, and just spectacular, and ice skating. That is all gone. There's none of that anymore. The specialty dining was poor. We went to La Casina and I did not eat my meal. I ordered it's difficult to go into an Italian restaurant and be served with completely Filipinos. Now, nothing against the Filipinos, but you expect like the traditional, hey, the accent and the ambiance, and have an Italian running the Italian restaurant, because I didn't eat my food. Everything I ordered from there was poor. So we ended up spending, I didn't get my money back. I don't know what it cost. It wasn't that much. Maybe it was $39 additional for that La Cucina, but stay away from that. That dining was poor. I ended up getting the lasagna, which was just like ragu and just beef. There was no cheese. It was just no good. The wine, I did sample some wines and I had to return them. The wines were extremely poor. Now my drink package allowed me to get up to $15 of wines, and I asked for the very best wine up to $15, and they were all exceptionally poor. And then I asked to sample some of the better wines, which you couldn't do. You had to buy the bottles. So they were eagerly giving me the bottles and standing by me waiting for me to pick, but based on my experience with the wine, I didn't want to take a risk on an unknown wine. And I did have Opus 1, but it was $1,000. I didn't feel like spending $1,000 for a simple glass of wine at dinner. No formal night. Now, we did go on a Christmas cruise. We did go in with a lot of Chinese and Indian, non-Christian, people who believe in Christmas. Obviously, they're taking the Christmas cruise. And there, I was surprised at how non-formal a lot of people are. I mean, people were literally in their pajamas and sweatsuits and t-shirts, and people wearing like shower caps, having their hair in a bun. There was very few people like with makeup, and it just was a very non-formal, there was no formal night, which I really enjoy. I like going a formal night with my boys, my family, taking pictures. Of course, we did our own formal nights. We did our own pictures. I'll show you a couple, but then there was a lack of photography. It used to be where you'd walk down the ship and all you would see was photographers every day, right? Big photography lab. Remember that? Remember you have your picture taken and it would put your picture up on the wall and you'd walk around, and after a buffet at a day at sea, you could spend an hour checking out pictures and even looking at other passengers' pictures and kind of laughing, and that's all gone. Back to the drink package, I do notice that their drinks of the day are pre-mixed in kegs. So they pressurize a keg and pre-mix like margaritas and certain type of drinks of the day that come out of a tap. I didn't really like that. Noisy cabins. My cabin was like a tin can. I mean, it was nice, but I could hear everything. I hear everybody's doors slamming next to me. I could hear kids running through the hallways. I heard noises above me, below me. My hangers kept banging in the closet doors. Everything kind of moved. And the ship was relatively calm. We had no issue with the ship moving. I mean, there were movement, but I really didn't feel it. But I could see things moving in my room. But the cabins were extremely noisy. So bring earplugs. Now, here's a big one for me, and we're talking about diversity and demographics. I'm shocked at the unruly children. My experience with, let's say, the Asian community, Chinese, Indian community, is their children are very proper, right? A lot of them are very smart, educated, they're into the studies and, listen to their parents. I don't know what happened on this trip, but I never saw so many parents and their kids just being totally unruly. Like one time I had said we were at the hamburger bar because I was forced to eat hamburgers because a lot of things, we'll get into that in a minute. And there was a young kid there from some country, and I was like, yo man, you ready for a burger, huh? Because I'm a father, I got kids. And he goes, nope, you guessed wrong. I mean, just rude kids running wild. I saw a group of kids kicking, when people would order room service or eat in their room, they would set their plates outside. A group of kids, 14, 15 years old, just kicking the plates and the food. And myself and another lady picked it up. I just was shocked at that. I never saw that type of activity from foreign kids, right? I always saw them as more in control and proper, but we're in 2025 now. Soft drinks. If you're a soda drinker, soft drink drinker, you got to be really careful. Now, they don't allow you to bring your own drinks on, but and if the drink package does not include cans, which I more often than not say, just sell me the can. I don't care if I have the drink package, sell me the can. Now, that would be hit or miss. 50% of the waitresses would just give it to you, or waiters, and 50% would take your card and literally charge you the $3.75 or whatever additional to get a can. but it was worth it because it was absolutely some of the most awful soda I've ever had. Food closures abruptly. I'm gonna say this was the first cruise that I lost weight on. I'm sort of a picky junk food eater. I'm not the picture of health, even though I look spectacular on camera, right? I know you're watching me because of my figure, I get it. But based on this amazing appearance, I actually lost weight. I usually gain about 10 pounds on a cruise ship, and not this cruise ship, and I'll tell you why. Food closures. The buffet was barely open. I know it sounds weird, right? The buffet barely open. But let me say this, the buffet was barely fully open. And more often than not, you would go in, the buffet would be open, you'd wash your hands, you would go in, you would start serving, say, some pasta or some salads, and then all of a sudden a barrage of Filipinos would come in and literally take everything away in a matter of minutes, irregardless of a line of people, irregardless of who's serving themselves. So you could be serving yourself, okay, and what's on your plate and in your spoon is yours. But as you go back to grab, that plate is being taken away. And I thought that was, and I have a better idea what that happened, but I thought that was very insulting, and I didn't appreciate it. And in fact, in one day at the buffet, there was a drill. It was, I believe, one of the first days at port. We were going to, maybe it was Cozumel or Costa Maya, and we're at the buffet, and then I heard the announcement come on and say, ladies and gentlemen, please ignore any warnings. The staff is going to be in crew doing their emergency drill. So ignore everything and just let them do their thing. Fine. Well, I'm in the buffet, boom, here comes the drills. Well, let me tell you, there had to have been 100 Indonesian Filipinos coming at me with this look like we're at war. They looked like if they had an arm on them that they would shoot me like in a war. They just blew past us, left everything the way it was, and you couldn't ask, excuse me, is this open, is that open? And no answer, very militant-like. And I'll get into a minute why that is, but it was just a little off-putting, you know? It was, it just left a bad taste in my mouth, enough for me to make a video on cruising. Touch pads on all exterior doors. That was super annoying. So they have this green little hand on all the exterior. I should be like this, but no, you have to literally touch it. Exterior doors to go out, right, when you want to leave and go out to a deck. And instead of waving your hand, you had to touch it. And that was annoying. I wish that they would have either a sensor or something in front of the door. I could see maybe on the outside coming in, wind maybe or rain might trigger that. They didn't want that, but to have to constantly touch something over and over to get out was annoying. No complimentary food on ports of call. Do you guys remember when we used to cruise and we'd go to Coco Cay or Harvest Cay or whatever these owned islands, and you would see the cruise members bringing out tents and foods and drinks and just setting up this beautiful buffet picnic? You remember that? They would go under some sort of trellis, and then they would be like, hey, and you'd have hamburgers and hot dogs and drinks. No more. It is all about grabbing your money. Everything is for sale. The drink packages and any food off the ship is no longer included. Now, is it a big deal? No, it's not, but it just adds to the little digs about cruising. I was shocked that there were no sports court. There was no soccer court, basketball court, volleyball court. And you know, we were on a Christmas cruise with kids everywhere with pent-up energy, and there were no basketball courts. This was the first cruise on my exploitation of this, on the Norwegian Bliss. Now, I guess they took that away to put up that racetrack, which was a lot of money to go really slow, okay? Which you couldn't go because it was always closed or it was raining. But so I didn't even see it. I didn't even go up there. My kids didn't even be able to go up on it. So I don't know if they taken off certain free things to put in pay things. Money grab. everything is about a money grab. Everything is about, you know, you're a captive audience, and you know, from the day you arrive to the day you get off of that ship, be prepared to spend money on the ship and even in ports of call. Now, that's why I lost a lot of weight, because there was no like cookies. I think I had one cookie all ship. There were no cookies. They had the soft serve ice creams. Very rarely were they working. They had an ice cream bar and a crepe in the buffet. I saw it the crepe I saw open one time, and the ice cream was either jammed with people or was closed. Lack of nightlife. There was no nightlife. There were no clubs. There were no discos on board. Now, I know they say they are, and my kids said that they were some, and he went, there would be nobody there. There was no like 80s club. There was nothing fun. And the limited entertainment they had from, say, the Temperature Band that was there, and another band, a Filipino band, and they're wearing flannels. They were wearing jeans. They looked like they just were a garage band. There was nothing formal about them, nothing spectacular, no lighting, no exceptional sound, very genetic background music, certainly not enough to gain my attention. Again, I apologize for this video, guys. I am from New Jersey and I've cruised many times, and it's my duty to tell you this. Limited fresh ingredients for the drinks. Now, my wife, she likes fresh squeezed limes. She likes fresh drinks, you know, fresh squeezed orange juices, things like that. Not available. Everything was from concentrate or frozen. Limited cruise ship director and a non-English speaking cruise director. Now, I don't want to put that down, but you're catering for a money grab from Americans, Europeans. You're coming to the nations that have some money to be able to afford to go on a cruise. I believe you should have an English-speaking first person. I mean, I don't care what denomination, what demographic you are, but you should have a perfect English if you're going to be the cruise director. I mean, you're speaking English on the ship, but the accent and just the interaction, the difference of people from, say, an American cruise director to a Filipino cruise director is exceptional. I'll have to say that. Now, if you want to call me racist, I don't care. You can call me racist. I'm just telling you facts. Single-ply toilet paper. Now, this sounds really, really silly, but the toilet paper was absolutely awful. I mean, here I guess they're thinking, oh, we have a special ship, and we have to contain, and we have to isolate the solids and separate them from the gray water, the black water. I get all that, what you're going to tell me, but you know what? When you have single-ply toilet paper, and I'm not the only one who said this, you think we're using a little bit? Hell no. These people are going vroom, vroom, vroom. So what would be better? A double-ply, less, more comfortable paper products, not just toilet paper, but like tissues, anything paper. I think you should step it up a little bit and get something better. NCL is equal to flying Spirit Airlines. Zero sophistication. I wrote that, guests walking around in hair buns, pajama pants. What I did miss on the exploitation of this, the Norwegian Bliss was a promenade. There was no promenade. There was no main city walkway. There was no main like mall experience, right? Now, who wants a mall? We don't like malls anymore, but there usually was an 8th floor midship, completely long, where you'd walk to be an ice cream shop and a Starbucks and the jewelry store and then the convenience store and then the different things you could look at, the art gallery, and you kind of just walk around this corridor straight. Not on the Bliss. The Bliss has a very small, stout, they've pilfered the ship to just maximize customers. And it's going into dry dock this Monday, to add more staterooms. So one of the very nice places called the observation deck on deck 15 was one of the only places with couches and chairs, and that's now being taken away to add 24 more staterooms. Congratulations. But look, your stock price is going to go up. Your bottom line is going to go up. Congratulations on that. We all want to make money. Stateroom attendant missed us several times. Did not come and clean our room. We called up to say, hey, we came back, and they, oh, well, we had drills, and so you were missed. Or, oh, you didn't have your sign on. So what they have in the Norwegian Bliss is two little switches. And on the outside where your stateroom number is, it has, because if you're home, you have to put your key card in the side there to just activate the contactor that turns the electricity on in your room. Save energy. Great. So when that's in, it says you're at home. If you pull that out, there are two switches. It says makeup room or do not disturb. Clearly LED indicators. So we called up and they're like, oh, well, you didn't have your makeup room on, or you had do not disturb on. Whatever the case may be, I had no idea who my stateroom attendant was. I didn't know his name. I didn't know who was coming in. And then periodically when we would come back, the bed would be made. Never was there a foldable towel. Remember they used to fold the towels and put the little eyes on it, and my wife would come in, oh, don't move it, let me take a picture. None. No mints on the pillow, none. Does that really matter? Of course it doesn't. But does that add to the negativity? Yes. Come back to the ship, these ports shut off all the people movers. So if you're relying on an escalator to get up or down, because a lot of times you have to take an escalator up, you cross over the main road, and then you're in a mall. You're in a mall where, hey, can I get you this? Hey, you want a tour? You want a motorcycle? Hey, you want an ATV? Hey, where you going? Where you going? You know, all that stuff, right? You're forced to walk through all that stuff, go around, and then escalator down. Well, when you come back, the escalators are off and sometimes blocked so that you can't sneak up and avoid the hawkers, right? So be careful, make sure you leave yourself enough time, because they don't make it easy for you to walk back onto the ship. Many of the amenities close. So my son kept saying to me, and he's 24, he's like, Dad, I want to go on that slide. They had that slide where you put your hands like this and drop down. He wanted to go on that. Well, the ship was leaving at 3:30 from one port. So we get on the ship around 3:20. Buffet is closed. The only thing was open was the American Diner, which was great. We had a great hamburger there. It's limited hours. I think it's open 2 hours a day, but we got lucky. So right behind us is the slide. So we grab a hamburger, and they close the slide at 3:30. Why would you close an amenity at 3:30? Why? Because you want to avoid more work, more tasks, more control. You know, the theme of cruise ships, and I'll get into that in a minute, is controlling the volume and masses of people, not about your experience anymore. So after the full week, he never was able to get on the slide. It was either closed or bad weather, or we were gone when it was open. Now, did it work? It did work. I did see a few people go on it, but they certainly limit the use of that. They said there was mini golf. I didn't see it. To the Cigar Lounge now, real quick. The Cigar Lounge. The Cigar Lounge. I am a cigar smoker, and the Cigar Lounge was in awful repair. In fact, every time I got out of the Cigar Lounge, I'll give you an example. So, and you might be watching me, whoever you are, maybe the 2 or 3 people that are going to watch this video. My wife comes and gets me because there's not much to do now, right? So now I'm going to get a cigar. I'm going to go to the Cigar Lounge because what else can I do, right? So I go to the Cigar Lounge. It's very small and no ventilation. In fact, I kept opening up the door to the deck to just let air, not to the interior, but to where you can only come in through the exterior. And the smell inside there was awful. The ashtrays were overfilled. There was just no service. And obviously, Filipinos do not like cigar smoke, and they just neglect that area. So my wife says to me, hey, Garrett, there's an art auction. They're giving away art for $30. You gotta come. Now, if you don't know me, we are big art connoisseurs. I have a large selection of artwork and I really enjoy it. I kind of refrain from the cruise ship art because I understand the profitability and I get that money grab for the art. But she says to me, Garrett, there's some guys that picked up art for $30. So she's like, come get me. So I'm midway through my cigar. I just put it down. I get up, I go out, and I walk into this art auction. And medium filled. And they're trying to, okay, all that crap, selling snake oil, all the hype. Okay, I want everybody to count of three. I'm all in. Count of three. Turn it around. Count of three. Show me. Like trying to pump it up, hype it up. So my wife is going, yeah, $30 they got a couple of nice pieces of art. I'm like, really? So I go in there, and the very first piece of art, they had 3 art pieces, and it was like, okay, on the count of 3, everybody, tell us to turn around. Okay, 1, 2, 3. The crowd goes, turn around, right? And shows these arts. They look awful. I mean, they're not colorful. They look awful. And she's like, okay, starting price, $48,000. Who's got $48,000? $48,000. It's like, dude, you're trying to sell me a piece of art for $48,000 based on what you're turning for me. I mean, is this a piece unique? Is this an embellished piece? I mean, where did it come from? Where's the provenance? So they go from these $30 art pieces, which I can't say is a fact, but I think it's a shrill. I think in the very beginning of an art auction, they have their people that just quickly take it. Who wants to go $30? Boom, and you got it. You got it. And it makes everybody go, wow. But then when you really start trying to buy their art, it's not an auction. I don't know why they even have a paddle. There is no, okay, let's go. Who's got 100? Who's got 200? No. It's suggested retail value is $3,500. That's not an auction to me. So shame on you, Park West. I have at least 6 or 7 pieces from Park West. I really enjoy them, but none of them have ever gotten any kind of value. Your Peter Maxes, your Romeo Brittos, your Michael Goddard, your same over and over, your Thomas Kincaid, the same type of artwork is just so diluted. If you think you're going to go and buy something from Park West and ever have a secondary market on it, just think again. Now, I enjoy my Park West pieces. I'm not trying to put the Park West down. I understand it's a business, but it's a big business.